Hello, everybody. My name is Dion Morales, your host of the Gold Squadron podcast, and we're coming to you live from the top 16 of the Sydney Space Jam Championship. Super excited to be here. If you can hear my voice, give me a hello, fam, in the chat, because we're about to get started. Let's do this. My co-host for today is
none other, dragged out of retirement, than Ryan Moisture Farmer. Here to see if Akhter is going to let me down again.
Now, this matchup, honestly, going to be really curious. We've had Akhter on stream a couple times. I've seen Gabriel play a few times as well. We're going to talk about the list here in a minute. But before we go too far, I need to shout out Curl Paw Creatives, our sponsor for this and all of our rounds here during the Space Jam series. Use coupon code SpaceJam2020 for 20% off. Make sure that when we can return to the tables, that you guys are playing in style. Farmer, what are these lists that these players are playing?
Man, we have an absolutely incredible kind of combination here. So on the left side of your screen, you've got Akhter Khan running 2 Zealous Recruits, nothing on them, and 4 Cartel Spacers. 2 of the Spacers have Tractor Beam, and 2 of the Spacers have Ion Cannon. Akhter has flown this in every single Space Jam event so far and has been just lighting it up. Still unable to claim that victory, though. He's trying to make that change today. And on the right side of your screen, you've got Gabriel. Why did I say it like that?
You said it English and Spanish at the same time. Gabriel or Gabriel, yeah.
Gabriel Derteano. Like Aldo Rain over here. And his list is really easy. He's got 5 Zeta Squadron survivors in the TIE SF with passive sensors and cluster missiles. This game, Dion, is... they have decided to not, quote unquote, honorably joust one another. Mm-hmm. However, if they were to have done that, if they were to have just lined up, I still don't know who would have the advantage here. Both lists are meant to be able to really pack a punch when flown at their opponent.
Yeah, the tech of having the cluster missile. So if you're not familiar with cluster missiles, let's go ahead and read the effect there, because then you guys can see some of the potential here that Gabriel has. So a cluster missile, say attack target lock, spend the charge. After this attack, you may perform this attack as a bonus attack against a different target at range 0 to 1 of the defender, ignoring the target lock. So you have the opportunity to fire your cluster missiles more than once. Now, what's going to be the interesting choice for Gobble is whether or not he actually chooses to use those cluster missile secondary shots, because these are, on Akhter's side, 3 agility ships, and if they still have focus or evades out there, like taking these unmodified shots into secondary targets could be a little bit risky.
Yeah, and something I want to add here is sometimes you take clusters not necessarily for that cluster missile effect, but they're allowing these SFs to have a 3-die shot out the front or out the back for a pretty good bargain, and they've got those passive sensors to be able to get that lock whenever they want it. It's really clever because these SFs can just shoot them out the front, shoot them out the butt, they're just clustering all over the place. So I am very, very interested to see how Akhter approaches this. And you can see, as he's done in a lot of these Space Jam tournaments, he's broken up his formation into, at the top of the screen, an Ion, a Tractor, and a Zealot, and at the bottom, an Ion, a Tractor, and a Zealot. And that, Alpha group, Bravo group, whatever you want to call them, he's just really good at figuring out the best way to move these ships around the table.
Absolutely. And then on another key here that could be for Gobble is the fact that all his ships are Initiative 2. Akhter's are all Initiative 1. So if you have the opportunity to alpha off a few of Akhter's ships early, especially those M3As, that could be a key factor. On Akhter's side, the tractor beams could be absolutely devastating and could make it so that you end up losing a couple of these SFs or putting them in bad spots, because they both did bring these rocks, and we know how people like to take those tractor beams and put ships on top of asteroids.
Yeah, and what Akhter needs to try and do is avoid that range 2 engagement. He needs to be able to close in on these SFs and also be able to actively shoot them several rounds in a row. Shooting them, these things have 3 hull and 3 shields backed up by 2 agility. 1 round is not sufficient, and with the ability of these SFs to just fly by your squad and then cluster missile out the back using like a very flexible white rotate linked action, you have to have a plan, not just for your initial engagement but for the follow-up as well.
Exactly. Now, if you have not participated yet, we do have betting open for this game. Now, it's not actual money. We have pretend money, GSP points. Well, you guys earn points by watching, by being active in the chat. You get a few more, or by subscribing to the channel, donations. All those things are ways to get points. You can use them to try to become the king of the hill, the person with the most amount of points. You can also use those points on awesome animations that we have on the screen. You can check the list of them that we have currently available by typing !loyalty. We have some fun ones. We're hoping to build a really robust, fun catalog for you guys to use over time. And yeah, super excited about those. So if you want to participate in the betting, you're going to type !bet. You're going to put a space. Then you type 1 or 2. 1 is Akhter, 2 is Gabriel. So that'll always be that way for every single game. 1 is the person on the left, and 2 is the person on the right. Then you put another space, and then you put how many points you want to bet. You can bet up to 10,000 GSP points on each of the matches. So have some fun with that. And of course, once we get into the engagement, we're going to close that betting so that people don't have that extra information. But Ryan, I'm curious to know, do you think Gabriel will end up being pulled through the rocks? Because I feel like that's what Akhter's trying to make him do right now, is trying to make him like engage through the rocks.
Something I really like to do, Dion, when we're talking about that pull through the rocks discussion, which, that's a classic X-Wing phrase at this point, right? Well, they like to stick in formation. Let's pull them through the rocks. We really need to look at the squad points of like each of these ships. So each Zeta Squadron Survivor is 40 points, right? Which means if Akhter destroys one of those ships, and loses either 1 spacer, essentially any other ship other than his zealous recruits, he's still doing okay. And the reason I bring this up is because Gabo needs to decide if I chase around the board the entire game, the entire 75 minutes, and it comes down to 1 engagement, and I lose 1 ship and he loses 1 ship, who comes out on top, right? And you might be thinking, as like a listener or a viewer, well, that doesn't happen. Like, no one chases around the board for 75 minutes, only has a single engagement. No, it doesn't really usually happen like that, but that's your starting point, because Akhter needs to realize, wait a minute, if I loses just 1 zealot and he loses just 1 zeta, that's a loss for me. So that definitely informs how you set up your approach. And Gabe here, Gabo, is looking at that as well, saying, I don't know. He's saying, I think that I could risk going through the rocks, or he's saying, I don't want to risk staying in formation and losing any of those points, because even half of these things being 20 is still a big deal. It's not too hard to plink off 3 shields on these Zetas. And that's another element that Akhter needs to consider too. Obviously, you want to take these Zetas to full destruction, but them being able to suddenly break formation and fly wherever they want and then shoot missiles out the back means you have to be willing to take half points on things where you can.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. I like this move here, the 3 bank barrel rolls, just trying to work on that range control with those SFs. And Akhter, he brought his ships around to get the K-turn with the Alpha group there on the top left, and in the center we have that other group ending up in that formation. Now, I find it interesting that they're kind of flipped, right? You have one where the Fang fighter is in the front, the yellow, and then you have the other where the Fang fighter is in the back. So just kind of
the orientation is part of the mind games of Akhter's list, isn't it? Like, what? And I'm just gonna keep saying different names: Gabo and Gabe and Gabriel and Gabriel, and shouts to Peru having a good showing in Space Jam Oceania.
Yeah, man, they have Pedro is in the cut. I know for sure. I think Luciano might be from Peru as well. But definitely very good showing.
Really good showing. We love our Peruvian brethren down there. But you know, I've given Akhter a lot of crap on the Fly Better podcast recently, and you know, it's incredibly warranted. If he doesn't win, he's dead to me. So I bet all 113 of my Gold Squadron points or whatever.
There you go.
I'm an unbiased commentator, but a biased fan.
Got it. Sure.
I really love what Akhter's doing here, though, at the top of the board. Getting those ships flipped around, having a rock in between on the engagement here. We have very much a potential for a quote unquote delayed joust here, where essentially what it comes down to is they didn't line up directly across from each other, but it ends up being that way, very similar to that anyway. And remember I said Akhter needs to have a plan for 2 engagements. I think he's okay with maybe engaging with just his first 3 ships and maybe just the front couple of Gabriel's SFs, because if you can just engage 3 on 3 and then after that engage 6 on 5, that's the sort of engagement that Akhter wants.
Yeah, I want to see. This next turn is going to be really telling, because depending on what the speed is of both of these squads is going to determine both what part we have, what part of the board we end up meeting on, as well as the potential for blocking on Akhter's part. Because if you're if you have a little bit too much room, you won't be able to do something like be able to zoom forward and get blocks right away, and you end up landing in range 2 with all the cluster missiles out there, and not getting range bonuses. That's also
why Akhter you'll see him. I believe you'll see him stagger his squad to be able to ensure that whatever route these SFs take, they're not going to be able to just go fast and get directly behind him. It'll be like a 3-stack space 3-stack. So they'll either need to take a wide path around the entire squad, probably around to the top left of the board, or cut in and be unable to fly directly past him in any easy way. Which is why you have this sort of delayed engagement, because we talk about in turn 0, talk about terrain. This is Akhter wants to fight in kind of suspended terrain. He wants the entirety of the board, these asteroids working in his favor to limit the flexibility of movement for Gabriel.
Absolutely. And news here, not news, but just some clarity. So it looks like 4 of our competitors in the top 16 are actually Peruvian, which is amazing. So there was Pedro, Luciano, Gabo, and the other one is the one I forgot last time as well. Scrolling up in our chat. And Giancarlo. So 4 out of a top 16, pretty good showing there for Peru. And I was wondering, I noticed that they hadn't been playing in the other Space Jams. I was like, well, I guess they're not participating. And maybe they just weren't available during the daytimes, but now this is nighttime in Peru, and nighttime equals X-Wing time, I guess.
They were training in the hyperbolic time chamber for sure to get here, because look at them coming out in full force to take on Oceania.
And talking about both these players have been playing these lists for a long time. Gabo had been playing this list when we went down, me and D went down to Buenos Aires last summer. Yeah. He was playing this exact same list. We actually have a game of him on stream playing this list in person. I know he lost that game, but I'm sure he has a little bit of desire to try to make it right. He has the opportunity. Absolutely. To fix it.
Yeah. Man, last summer, that feels like a decade ago. You said the last summer. Was that really last summer that happened? Oh my gosh.
It feels like forever ago. Oh, you're stepping on the gas here with the middle group here.
Something that's really interesting here is if Akhter is able to have ships in front and behind the SFs, they got to pick an arc, right? Yep. Like, they got to pick a direction. So this is really, really aggressive for Akhter, but I like it. I like it a lot. And he is an aggressive player when he wants to be.
All right, let's see what. Man, I want to know what Gobble does here. I think the move here really matters.
It does, no doubt.
Does the SF have a 3-turn that's white?
I don't think so.
Or is it two?
I don't think so.
I know they have 2, obviously.
Yeah, they're not. They don't have that sort of that option like the X-wings do. Let me double check. I'm not. Do you have a? You don't have a dial overlay, do you?
I'm not controlling it. Johnny's got it. That's why I don't have it up.
No, it's fine.
No, they do have a 3-turn. So I think.
Oh, they do have the 3-turn. Yep. What was I thinking? What ship? There's a ship that has the 3 red turn. I'll have to think about that later. This is what happens when I don't play for a really long time. I get weak.
All right. And
their 1 hard is red. Got it. Okay. I knew one of their hard turns was red.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and shut down the bets. We had 97 people who are participating right now. Give you guys until Akhter finishes moving his ships to get your bets in, which is right now. So you missed your chance if you didn't get to participate. You can choose your champion later. We got that locked down. We have 228,000 points in the pot. Let's see how that gets split up. With
I'm gonna get all of them.
64, approximately 65% of the vote going for Akhter, and 35% of the vote going for Gobble.
Looks like we got some banks coming in for these SFs. This is going to be one. This particular engagement may not be bloody, but the next round is going to potentially be a bloodbath.
Yep. So Gobble goes
and this is
with the 2 bank.
Yeah, and that is, I don't think he expected Akhter to come in that fast with that first that grouping, that alpha group, which means this is potentially exactly the opening engagement that Akhter wants, engaging not all of Gabbo's ships, just a couple of them, with his 3 forward front-facing ships.
Mm-hmm.
But this does, it's a little precarious for Gabbo here because he has to try and not get blocked next turn, and he doesn't necessarily have a really great escape route because Akhter's clogging those lanes.
Yeah, it's going to be... This engagement next turn is going to be really interesting. So we do have some shots here. Or is this a target lock? I think he still has
his back 2 ships to move to.
Ah, you're right. This is just target lock range.
Yeah. And that lock informs a few things too. Obviously, these guys have passive, so you're like, why don't you just passive with every single one of them? What that lock does is it gives you information on whether maybe you want to roll instead with these other 2 ships in the back.
So another thing we got to watch out for, if the pink M3A has arc on somebody, one of the tricks we've seen Akhter use a few times is you get that tractor to land on one of the other ships in formation, you pull it out of the formation, and your other ships just eat it up at range 3, or having it just be decimated after the first turn of engagement.
Absolutely, and these Sikhs love to be at range 3 with those ions and tractors.
Now, really quick out there for we got our first attack, so let's go ahead and see how things are looking here. Range 3, will he actually fire the cluster missile?
I mean, he probably should.
It looks like it's just 2 dice, primary, and got the 2 hits.
Bad, not bad.
And safe.
Easy.
Oh, sorry. Cluster missiles are range 1 to 2, so he couldn't even fire it anyway.
Right.
So he's got that lock set up for next time.
Right. Feel the heat of the chat on my back. They can't fire it at range 3. I know. I know.
We don't mess up, man.
Oh God, they know. This is a really good engagement opening for Akhter. positioning wise, regardless of what the dice get, whatever happens with the dice roll here.
And ooh, that is that an ion cannon one or a? Oh, they're both range 1 to 3. He's going to be ionized. He rolled 3 hits, didn't he?
2 hits.
No, he had 2 hits, so just 1 damage. Okay.
Yeah, 1 damage on.
That could have been bad.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, just 1 damage on. Which one is that? White. Oh man, and red doesn't have that shot either. Is that all? That was everything for the shots, right?
I think that's it. Unless pink had a shot, that'd be the only one.
We'll see in a second. I don't know if they even checked for pink. Not positive.
Every ship does have to engage, so I'm gonna just pose the question: does pink engage?
He could just be thinking pink doesn't have a shot regardless. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, and no arc there. And shout out to Chewbacca40 getting a donation here for $25, saying, "Hi Ryan, hi Dion, how's it going, Chewbacca?"
Hi, Chewbacca.
The one and only Sam Samino. I guess I just doxed him. Sorry, buddy.
Oh jeez. What are you doing, Dion? You have a responsibility.
I feel like I think everybody knows. No, he's said his own name before in LA when I had him commentate with me. It's safe. Now, what's his address? Listen, if your face has been behind my camera and you've said who you are, you're not you're not safe. You're not safe. It is known.
Sam Semino is my best friend.
Oh, I thought I was your best friend.
I can have more than one best friend.
Nice. Very, very good preschool answer there, sir.
That's true. That's Arwen logic right there.
That's right. Oh, man.
Okay, so there are a couple people in the chat that are saying that the back 2 Seeks, blue and orange, the back 2 spacers are out of the fight, that they're a little out of position this next round. I actually don't think they are. I think that, blue has potential to have like a rock in front of him, but we've seen in the past that Akhter's not afraid to put his Seeks directly behind rocks.
Nope.
And either fly over them or just like worry about them later. Like he could easily just bank with those 2 Seeks and be okay with it.
Yeah, orange will have a shot. Maybe I think the only ship that might not have a shot might be blue, but honestly, he'd still probably get a range 3. Let me go ahead and get you guys an overhead view of this. You guys get a better idea of that range. You guys see right there that you do the 1 bank with and you might have a shot if Gabo goes anything faster than a 1 straight.
I think Gabo's got to do the 1 straights here though. 1 banks maybe, but the 1 speed maneuver I'm pretty sure is what we're looking at, because the cluster punch punch is very dangerous here.
And the other thing we can't understate is the tractor beam. You got to remember, with tractor beam, you can move those SFs. It's a very viable strategy. Hey, my ship's out of range. I can't shoot right now, but my tractor beam ship just pulled you into range, and now my ship that went from out of range is now firing at you.
Yeah, you got to think that Gabo's primary target is the Zealots, right? The Fangs. Them being at 41 points. Like, because if you trade one of yours for one of those Zealots, you're winning.
Yep. Just a quick comment to the chat. I don't use the top-down view all the time because it gives me a headache. Just being completely honest. I reference it as needed and move on. And it also simulates the what our camera looks like in person. So that's why we use the view we do. You
don't have to justify anything, Dion. Yep. This is your house. I'm in your house. You do what you want.
Yep. You cannot track. Somebody's asking here in the chat, can you tractor somebody off of the board? You cannot. Also,
Land.
Farmer, would you agree, design-wise, that the angled look is a more open and less tension-filled view?
You know what? I feel like I have space to spread out when I'm in this view.
Exactly.
That's what we're here for. Relaxing.
But yeah, so you can. Somebody's asking. You cannot. No, you cannot tractor somebody off the board. You can put them in a position where they next maneuver takes them off the board.
You have to fly off the board, right? Let me help you flee, buddy.
Yep. But honestly, that's probably a little harder now with the new tractor rule that allows you to rotate your ship 90 degrees.
That's got to be an achievement if you can do that. If you can tractor someone so that no matter which way they rotate, they're still flying off the board next turn.
So hard.
You'd have to really get them. Probably some sort of large base ship situation there. Dion, I'm really interested to see, do you think Akhter moves one of these Seeks in for a block? They can't boost, right?
Right, no boost there. The best blockers you have are the Zealots, and they're not in a position to do that.
Here with the Zealot is maybe doing like a 3-bank boost with it and getting it really far in there and bumping one and maybe messing up the formation. But if you do that, you risk losing the Zealot, obviously. But maybe it's worth it to mess up the formation and kind of avoid some shots. But it is a little precarious. I think Akhter definitely wished that he had a few more shots on white in that round than he ended up having.
Huh. Yeah, the block, I just feel like there's too much risk trying to go for a block where you just end up serving up a ship at range 1, which ends up benefiting Gabo in the sense that he's not required to spend any cluster missiles in order to get that 3 dice attack.
The other thing, here we go. The other thing I was going to say you could consider is just Akhter could just be going really fast, straight. But
all right, so we did get the hop over here with the Teal Fang.
Yeah, there's that 3-bank, right? I think he's debating whether to focus boost or focus barrel roll.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think boost is the one
just focus too.
That makes. I mean, yeah, it depends on what he's got dialed in the other ships. But if the other ships would have been moving in front, I don't know why you move the Fang fighter first, unless you're trying to get it into range 1, which would be a boost. There you go. He's going for the angled boost.
Yeah, totally. And here's the other thing: if that's a really good play, if Gabo did 1 straights with all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some really good positioning there.
I see a couple people. Isophane's trying to put in a bet. It's close.
Too late.
Isophane, I'm sorry.
We had shots. It's too late.
All right, and that seems to fit there. The 2-bank
really good maneuver
from the Cartel Spacer.
Really oh my goodness. Just a clinic here. Exceptional maneuvering, getting all those chips in there. I wonder if he debates, I need to switch the angle, which I'm looking at. I have free roam capabilities. Haha.
That's right.
Yeah. I wonder if he's debating maybe barrel rolling and focusing with yellow, barrel rolling to the right.
Give you guys an on the field view right now. Different angle of the current situation that's going on right now. Trying to determine those actions.
And you'll see in a second, he's going to take one banks with these Seeks in the back, which is perfect. Like, that's why I really like where blue is situated.
Man, that yellow Fang Fighter is in a rough place because it's going to be stuck at range 2.
I think Akhter may have been thinking that he would have been able to barrel roll to the left and back with it.
Oh, that nips the rock there. So he cannot barrel roll straight. He's going to have to barrel roll forward. There it is.
That Fang is not in a great spot.
And one of the things you gotta remember, even though there are unmodded shots with the second cluster missiles, it helps. It has the potential to help clear off tokens.
Yeah.
Which is huge. And then you can have, because he's not gonna target lock the same ship. You're gonna see the target locks go out separately because all of them are in a cluster here.
What I do really like is there are the banks. Oof.
All right, so red, 1 bank. And time to assess the target lock situation.
Yeah, and in terms of like escape situations, you'll note that the behind Akhter is a ton of free space now with these banks. Like if he banks with all these, which looks like he's going to, all these SFs, he is clear to just do 4 or 5 straights, probably 4s next turn, rotate that arc, and have an excellent escape vector. Maybe not here with blue because there's that rock in the way, but regardless, he can just break up the formation after the initial engagement. There's no need to keep them together anymore.
I'm surprised he's actually doing the target lock action instead of passive. The difference with the timing is that passive sensors allows you to take that target lock when that specific ship right before they engage. By target locking, you are committing to your ship rather than having the flexibility to move around. So it could be a bit of a misplay here by Gobble. Probably, and this is a situation where it's like maybe doesn't play too much against the lower initiative ships. And here's white bumping. Has a target lock out there already.
That is really interesting.
Bumping
all over here. Yeah.
So got a little bit greedy with the speed.
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
backside.
I thought that there might be, when you're formation flying like that, you want to be in spaces and situations where these bumps aren't going to happen when you bank. And I'm wondering if that's a situation of like just spacing in Tabletop Simulator, not being used to being in TTS and maneuvering in this way. The bumps do really, really change the dichotomy of like this potential opening engagement.
Yep.
And who's going to live and who's going to die.
Orange did not bump. Takes a target lock on the pink tractor beam Seek.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to worry about these zealots right now. Wants to get these Seeks out of there, which I'm
surprised
to see
mostly because those are the heavy hitters. Like tractor beam helps, of course, but
yeah.
All right.
Now, he could always cluster into the zealots, right?
Very true. Very true. But I mean, he's already committed those target locks, so we know we're going to go into the pink Fang. First cluster missile. Go. All right. Hit crit. Are we going to spend the lock?
Find out. We'll see how he decides to strategize with these clusters.
He's going to leave it at 2. And 2 evades.
Yeah, that looks clean in the box, the dice box. So no damage there on that first. Is he going to cluster again? Looks like he's clustering onto white, or not white, onto where that white lock is on red.
Yep. So going onto the red Seek.
Yeah. With the cluster. Ooh, rough. Only
And misses that one.
yeah, misses again. That's really rough too when you miss out on that first roll, you know?
Mm-hmm. And one of the things people are a little concerned about or confused is why would you hold on to the lock? The SF has the rotate focus, or is it focus rotate? One of those. You can do both of those in the same turn for no cost. It's just a linked action. So on the way out, you can end up moving fast with those SFs and have shots on the backside.
Yeah, exactly.
So here is white going into red. Got hit. Got a crit. And he's going to spend the target lock. On the 2 dice. Got hit, crit. That's going in.
There it is.
Again, this is going into the red Seek, the ion cannon one. And hit crit does land there unless you get a focus spend and it's just a shield.
Yeah, he'll spend it. That's smart too. You don't want that crit to get through. It's okay. Just take the shield. I'd love to hear Gabo's reasoning at some point as to, you know, why he is prioritizing the Seeks over the Zealots here. That wouldn't be my particular thinking, but it could just be how he's decided to use the...
Ooh, 3 hits on the cluster missile secondary shot going into pink. And
wow.
He has a focus, but he
does. Wow. What's he going to do? That's a rough roll. Big dice turnaround. Huge swing on the second cluster missile shot.
So... Decision. Does he want to spend that focus? Does he anticipate his ship dying? He's taking a squadron survivors, doing the work. Feels bad just having to spend the focus to just avoid 1 damage.
Akhter's hoping that he has a few survivors in his squad too.
So that's half points on pink now. Shield on a card. Next ship is up. Let's see. So red is firing now. Has a target lock on that pink one as well.
I think he's got to go after the pink now. So let's see what happens.
Yep, has a target lock set up.
Yep.
And I mean, I think you spend that target lock. There's no reason to hold on to it.
No, is he gonna spend it? I was gonna say.
And crit.
Okay, I guess I'm wrong. I was gonna say it might be worth considering clustering on these ones too, but.
And so he's dead. Dead. DED dead.
Blank out.
Do we get the cluster effect going into the red M3A now?
Can he cluster without the lock still on the board? Or
yes,
no?
He can, because you get to ignore the effects for target lock.
Right? Yeah. Brutal.
And yep, here is the cluster missile effect going into the red M3A.
And you know, clusters can just have this effect, you know? When they just pop up.
Like that, they just popping off 3 hits right there.
Wow. My goodness.
And
my goodness.
That's going to be
2?
2 more damage, and he's down to 1 on the red cartel spacer.
Wow. Incredible. Akhter cannot afford to lose another ship here. Bright side is I think he has no more cluster shots.
Nope, he's going to have just a couple of 2-die shots going at him. I think you just continue into red because pink does not have...
Yeah. If red can survive this round, That's gonna be nothing because pink doesn't have any mods. If Akhter can get out of this next shot with red alive, he does have a good opportunity to potentially deal a to take one of these SFs off the table.
I wonder,
damage wise,
does he fire the cluster missiles into the blue cartel spacer, or does he continue the pressure onto red? Nope, he's going into blue where he has a target lock set up.
You take the 3-die shot when you have it.
And has 2 out there. Is he going to spend the lock?
I would. And the reason I would is you don't have necessarily a good. I guess it looks like he's going to keep it. I was gonna say it doesn't. To me, it looked like you have a good path to shoot at it next turn, but that entirely depends on what you're planning as a follow-up. But he'll avoid the damage. Will he cluster onto orange? Is the question. Looks like he's going to.
So here's a situation where having done the passive sensors would have been better. On blue,
absolutely.
Right? Because he could have switched targets.
Yeah.
Or chosen a different target.
So now we cluster, and that'll be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Akhter lost a ship, and he's got a seek at 1. Let's see what the follow-up is, because if you remove one of these Zetas off the table right now, and you still have 2 full fangs, I think you're feeling okay.
You are. One of the big things that Akhter lost here, though, is one of his 2 tractor beams. Those are huge weapons for him. And
but he has a tractor right now, which is good.
True.
And there are a lot of Zetas with no tokens on the table.
Well, that's when you go full offense.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
I think you take. I think if all your shot, you can get all your shots on blue here, which I'm not sure if red has a shot. Oh, he does.
He does.
I think you go after blue.
I agree. I agree there. Not doing the passive sensor still feels really bad from the last turn. I still am just a little bit like, I think Gabriel could have easily cleared 2 ships. All right, here we go. We have the Fang Fighter teal going into into the white Zeta Squadron Survivor.
Oh, interesting.
And that's
a good roll.
Spend that 4 hits. Let's go.
Seems good, huh? Wow. Blank out. What? No heroic in the first order.
So he's going to end up being down to 1 hull, if I'm not mistaken, because he had already lost a shield.
Yeah, that's why you would go after white, because he already lost the shield. I forgot about that.
And here's the follow-up shot. Likely will be an ion cannon just to have that 3rd dice. The ion effect does not matter.
White off the table, yeah. Then you can go after blue.
All right, we got 2 hits.
Spending that focus was big, but he needs natties here to stay alive.
Got him.
Doesn't get him.
So
that's white off the table, and just like that, Akhter is closing in. I think what do we got here?
That's 40 to 44.
40 to 44. So Gabe's still holding in, but Akhter still has 3 more shots.
I expect Gabe to probably lose at least half a ship more.
I agree. Yeah, because you have I think he'll tractor first, maybe try and pull blue forward into range 1 of yellow if he isn't already. Then you have the ion opportunity to ion him onto the rock next turn. So tractor into blue, tractor him forward, ion into blue, or probably 4 dice with the zealot, then ion in.
All right, looks like Akhter's deciding what weapon.
He could also decide to maybe tractor someone else too, if he thinks that's better.
Oh, I think he just disconnected.
Oh.
All right. Johnny, pause the clock, please. All right.
Hey, Dion, You know what? You know what I sometimes have to deal with in
What?
X-Wing?
What do you have to deal with sometimes?
Sometimes I have to deal with the fact that I'm just using these cardboard tokens, right? And I buy these ships and they just have so much cardboard.
Too much
And,
cardboard.
you know, yeah, and when I'm playing, like I'm also drinking water and I'm constantly dropping my cardboard into water.
Yeah.
And the cardboard just falls apart. Sometimes I'm playing X-Wing in the bath and my cardboard tokens are just falling into the tub and getting ruined.
You just
and
can't
I say
do
to myself,
it.
why am I using cardboard?
You shouldn't be.
Why am I using?
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't be. Now, if only there was a place that I could get tokens for X-Wing that don't just dissolve instantly when I drop them into water.
Have you ever heard of Curled Paw Creatives?
What is Curled Paw Creative?
Well, Curled Paw Creatives is your home for acrylic game token needs. Use coupon code SpaceJam2020 for 20% off. You can actually get the link to the shop by typing !CPC.
You know what? That's incredible. And Curled Paw Creatives tokens don't dissolve in your mouth either, like when D eats all of my cardboard tokens. So, you know, Curled Paw Creatives work in the tub. They work when you are dropping them into your glasses of water. You know, I don't recommend you put them into your mouth, but if your stupid co-host does, then they also won't dissolve and get ruined. So, you know, just tons of flexibility there. Great product, great company. Can't recommend them enough.
You know, the same goes for cardboard templates.
That too.
I mean, you could play other games in the bath and tub as well, like Star Wars Destiny, Legion, Magic the Gathering, all kinds of games.
Lots of things you can do with Curled Paw Creative acrylic tokens that involve water or anything that you just can't do with cardboard. You just can't.
You just can't. Let's. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick check on Akhter to see if we have any updates, or did his computer completely go kaput? So we're gonna go on mute here for 1 minute. Please hold.
We'll be back.
All right,
Are we
back.
live or are we still muted?
We are back. We are live.
They're having a great discussion here, and I agree with Yisenhall. If they weren't supposed to be in water, why else would it be called a gun boat?
Fact.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, so we had blue firing what is a tractor beam at the blue SF and spending the focus.
That's two. Let's see. Again, hoping for those natties. This is a crucial roll. Does not get it. Will be tractored.
That's right. Get pulled into range one. Some hurt coming in.
Yeah. So maximum potential damage here would be 5. Oh, maybe not, because maybe orange chooses to do a primary with 3 dice instead of the ion. So has potential to deal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. That's math if everything went extremely well.
All right, here is the Fang Fighter, range 1, the heavy hitter.
This is a big roll.
Oh,
That's a good roll for Akhter. Hit, crit. Only 1 die.
the golf.
Blanks out. My goodness, what a woof.
Shield
They
and a
needed
crit.
that. Wow. My goodness. And now you have a Seek that can take a range 1 shot here and potentially wipe this off the board. Especially because the crit is structural damage, no dice being rolled, only 2 health left.
All right, and it was a range 1 shot primary.
He's got the focus. He's going to kill another SF.
He's dead. It's over. It's over for that SF.
And that's what happens in X-Wing, Dion. Something like you feel like you have a really good positioning here, and just the dice swung hard for both players. You had to come up with a couple really, really strong clusters from Gabo, but 2 4-dice Fang shots that connected with 4 hits. And that's why we're talking about target priority here. Really interesting that he prioritized going after the Seeks instead of the Fangs. The Fangs are saying, hey, look at me. I'm the one you should be worried about.
That's right. Well, because while the M3As have the tech, the Fangs pack the punch. If you take either one of those Fang fighters out this turn, those tractor beams and ion cannons matter less than they ended up doing. So that was a rough engagement for sure. Losing 2 ships early, obviously, is bad. But we have to see where Gabo can come from here, because right now the positioning really does favor Akhter. He's got space for his initiative 1s to move.
Sure does.
The Teal 1 is in a prime blocking position. I don't know. Maybe those SFs try to just zoom forward and get that back arc on. But the problem is that you don't have any target locks out there that you kept. I guess except for Blue, which, well, never mind, Blue's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Blue's dead.
So yeah, you're in a bad spot.
He's swimming with the cardboard. That's what he's doing. I think you have to figure out, if you're Gabo, what your game plan is now, right? Because one, you definitely need to start prioritizing Seeks, getting more points. Like, you could kill Red that only has 1, but I think while you can, you have to see if you can get some of these Seeks off the table.
Now, quick shout out to the chat here. We had a really good question from Chewbacca40. The question was, do you have any ideas on how to convince my wife to watch GSP for date night? So first, step 1, you must be nice to your wife. Step 2, she has to have interest in board games. If there's no interest in board games, this is over. It's done. Step 3, teach X-Wing. Let the wifey win. Okay, you got to. It's how you have to start. Okay, not like condescending, but they have to have fun the first time. After that, you just build it up, and eventually the desire will be there. Also, this is just a recommendation. I did see somebody say that their spouse kicked them off the TV because they turned on GSP on the TV, so now they're forced to watch on their phone. Honestly, I have felt, and my goal is to make these streams for you guys feel like sports. And if you would watch football, basketball, baseball, any of these things on your TV, there's nothing wrong with watching X-Wing on there, because this is a competitive event. A competitive event between teams of people who are facing off. And you got commentary and cameras and stats. I mean, this is interactive sports right here. X-Wing for you.
You know what? You're wrong, Dion.
I'm wrong.
Your advice is horrible. Yeah, listen, I got the better advice how you get your spouse to watch X-Wing.
Okay.
There are 2 sides here, right? And you got to be willing to risk something if you want to watch X-Wing on the TV. So here's what you do. You take a coin and you say, "All right, honey, heads, you get, what you call it or whatever, and one of you gets one of the squads and the other gets the other squad, totally random, and you root for opposite squads, and you bet, you put stakes on it. Like, if I lose, I'll do dishes for a month or something, or I'll do that thing you've been wanting to do, and if I don't lose, then, like, maybe if you win, it's something trivial, like something ridiculous. You put it heavily slanted. Now, there's risk here that you have to do something really unpleasant, but you're already winning if you're able to watch X-Wing on TV with your wife. So, just saying, you get her invested in the results of the game by your potential displeasure being in the future. and she getting something she wants, or he. So, you know what? That's how I would do it.
Boom.
Boom.
There are 4 people in this room now, and only one is not married. The one giving them the most aggressive advice.
Excuse me, D. You and I both know that if there were stakes involved, Esther would be heavily more invested in watching X-Wing with you.
I'll tell you, I made a terrible mistake. I introduced her to Animal Crossing, and I've lost her to the void.
Oh no, the turnip economy is too strong.
Chewbacca says that's what he was looking for the whole time.
Oh, D, the chat is saying we need to do an altar of both of us in the bathtub playing X-Wing. That's because that's what the chat says.
For perceptive, that's perceptive co-pilot.
Perceptive co-pilot.
Yep.
I'm game.
Listen, you know what, dude? I think that the bathtub is already your natural environment. You got the smooth skin, like you'd outswim me.
But you're the moisture one.
It's true. It's my home field advantage. You know what? It's very true. It's very true.
Turns out it was.
We
both
can make all kinds of altars with that photo shoot.
I'm gonna go back to my shed. I was just distraught at the one unmarried individual giving such dangerous advice.
Listen, if you're not willing to risk to get what you want, then what's even the point of wanting? That's my wisdom for the day.
Fair.
So we see Akhter just that one Fang won't be able to shoot, but that's fine. He's just sort of repositioning, but he has his Bravo squadron. Both Fangs are kind of repositioning, getting out of the fight for a second, but it's totally fine.
Here we go.
He's got a couple Seeks for coverage, and you've got Red just trying to get out of the way. We'll see if he can survive another round.
Now the Fang fighters kind of noping out. It's actually really interesting. I wonder if that's in anticipation for the SFs going forward and making it so that they can't get shot. Basically, like a pre arc dodge. All right, and there is the 5 straight from the orange. And we're getting what I think was a focus rotate.
Yeah, it's a good play. Smart.
Another 5 straight.
But those Seeks, and this is a good call by Akhter, because the Seeks, the Fangs are protected here. Like they're not going to have any shots on them.
Next weekend, by the way, we'll have an exclusive how to Tinder episode with Ryan Farmer. We'll look forward to that.
Oh well, I have a girlfriend now, so excuse me, sir.
I didn't know.
We don't. Yeah. Amazing what kind of breaking news happens on the Gold Squadron podcast stream. Incredible.
Breaking news, Farmer has a girlfriend.
Breaking news. Who knows? Who knew? What fascinating things.
All right, I'm gonna leave this alone.
He thought he had me. He thought he had, but I laid the knowledge bomb on him.
All right, here we go. Red, orange SF going
Red
into the
trying
red.
to stay alive.
Oh,
Trying to stay alive.
and this is the cluster missile off the back, by the way.
Out the butt.
And
Ooh.
3 hits.
He needs 2 evades. Oh my god, he gets it. Spend that token, stays alive.
So that's only 1 damage. It's left at 1. Red trying to finish him off. And this is forced to be the primary. Spends a target lock. Could not use the cluster missiles because it was out of range and ends up with nothing. You know, when the world champ in the chat is calling for heroic on SFs, it's a sad day. All right, and then purple getting a shot here. Also range 3, but it's got 2 hits. There's a chance. And, oh, got him.
Oh my gosh. Clench. All right, so red does meet his demise. Valiant effort, but you know, it's still really close here.
Oh, it is. I mean, see, here's the thing. Because of how think about it. Akhter obviously has more ships, right? He brought 7 to the table. That means per ship they are cheaper. Mostly, than any
That's
of Gobbles. Yes, the math. Yeah. It's amazing.
The math. Proud of you.
So right now it's 80 to 59, and with 17 minutes left, and honestly at the pace of play that's happening right now, because they do both have a lot of ships, which makes sense.
Could pick up a little bit now that there are fewer on the table, but yeah.
I honestly only see us maybe having 2 turns, maybe 3 left. And the positioning really does favor Akhter. You have those Fang fighters ready to turn in right now.
Exactly. They're ready to pounce.
Yep. And if Gobble takes them to the left, which is what Akhter wants, right? Akhter wants those range 1 engagements. That could be bad news. But maybe with the SF's arcs to the back now, we could end up banking to the right and using those. But it depends on what these last couple shots end up doing. We have M3As having a couple range 1 shots. We'll see what weapons they end up choosing.
Orange is ion, right?
Orange is ion cannon.
I think you consider ioning. No, I think you have to primary because they can always leapfrog and self bump each other.
Well, this is the ion cannon because he has 4 dice.
Oh, you get the 4. That's true. Just thinking damage wise. But that looks like it's going to be an ion no matter what.
Ion and a damage. Thank you very much. Yeah. It literally does not matter what gets rolled here.
Yep. Ion and a damage.
So red SF taking a plink. Ion token, you know, the farthest that SF can be away is 1 straight.
And that was in a red, right?
Yes.
And so let's see what blue maybe does here.
The additional issue with that, let's see, blue has a tractor beam.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe he goes range 1 shots with both of them into like pink, but this is totally acceptable too, obviously.
Hit crit with that. I mean, maybe it was a primary because he only rolled 3
I don't
dice.
know. Maybe it was. I think that might have been a primary. Keep in mind that with that ion,
it was 2 shields down.
Red can't rotate that arc now, so the Fang will be protected if they decide to do like a 2 hard boost in. And half points on these SFs are still relevant because that's a 20-point chunk that you take off
every time.
And purple is 1 away, and red is 2 away from those halves. So, you know, if you're able to get half on 2 or 3 of these, you could even sacrifice a Fang and still be probably fine. Actually, Akhter's ahead by enough that if he gets 2 of these SFs to half, he could lose a Fang, still be totally fine. And that's kind of what you want to look at when you start to get ahead in a game. You look at, okay, if there's a ship that I could lose to push myself further ahead, what would that look like? And you say, okay, like I only need to do a total of 3 more damage to kind of guarantee this. So you can be very aggressive and, you know, put that whatever analogy you want to use to kind of say, I am going to pressure my opponent here. I'm going to do everything possible to push the pedal to the floor and be aggressive to ensure my victory.
Awesome. Ah, man. 14 minutes left. Well, let's remind you guys that we are going to be live all the way until the final. If you've been following any of the Space Jam events, you know that these events, we're running them just like as if they were a event in person. No breaks, no multiple weeks, none of that. We are playing these straight through premier level style events here at Gold Squadron. We have another one coming up. I think we're suspecting to have a points update coming soon. I believe the birdies are saying at least by the end of the month. And that would give me enough time to plan. You put it a couple weeks out in July, and we're going to have the Hemispheric Championships. We're going to do a day, 2 separate events. We're going to do one that'll be for North America, South America. It'll be branded that way, and there'll be a day 1A, a day 1B, and then a cut day. So that'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we're going to do the same thing for a Eastern Hemispheric location time. I'll figure out where that'll be. And same thing, day 1A, day 1B, and then a cut. Should be fun. Hey, Deity, what about a team event / series? So, if I'm going to be completely honest, my only hesitation with doing team events is some of the coordination stuff. It can be a bit of a headache with trying to get teams coordinated, and I'm not ready. Oh, what just happened? I'm confused. Pink was dead. They forgot to remove it. Is that what it was? Yes, Pink is dead. They forgot to remove it.
Oh. That's fine.
Yep.
We knew that already.
Yep. Oh no, it says right here in the log, the cartel spacer moved to the last safe position. Just accidentally put the ship. All right, so we got some tactical bumps here.
Wow, did not land on the rock. Very gutsy there. Akhter knew, though. He knew that it was going to be fine.
We got the 2-bank boost coming around the corner. There's another 2-bank. I'm just setting the line. Probably do another focus boost. Excuse me, boost focus.
And you'll see, I think, Gabo try to self-block that ion. Potentially so that it doesn't take those shots from the recruits. The fangs.
The fang fighters. So looks like we're taking the target lock, and here again it's another situation with not seeing the potential for passive sensors. I mean, unless he just he's on the plan, he knows exactly what he wants to do, but I still don't love the call of not using passive sensors. It just really locks you down.
Yeah, it is curious, isn't it?
Because what will happen is the red will only be able to fire on the orange one. You fire with red first because he only has one shot, and then you go from there. So there's the bump.
Can't do anything. I think that teal is still going to have a good shot on red.
So here we go. The red SF, the Zeta Survivor, does have a range 1 just barely obstructed.
Yeah, it just clips it. So it'll be 4 dice.
Just barely.
By the teeniest bit.
So that'll be 3 dice versus 4. Yep. Neither of them have any modifiers. Here we go. Ooh, okay. Okay.
Needed that. Needed it.
Watch me. Ooh, watch me. And it's going to be taking half points there on the orange M3A.
That's important. Really good roll. And that's what you're saying, Dion. Like, he'll probably cluster here, but it would be nice if he could say, you know what, I'm going to cluster orange instead.
Right, like I understand wanting to put the damage in the SF because you got, on the Zealous Recruit, but it's just it gives you a lot less.
It's okay though, because here's the thing. Let's say that it's unlikely. There's potential here that he gets 3 hits on both of those Fang Fighters, just wins the game.
True that. And he blanked out. He's going to get half points on the Teal Fang.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
Look at these points. Just collecting them. That has pulled Gabo ahead now. 80 to 96.
That's incredible. For now, anyway, Gabo's ahead right now, but this is a real sort of turnaround here.
And we could get the... did he have any more charges on orange? He had one more. He actually... on pink.
I think he might cluster here. Yeah, I think he's going to cluster into yellow potentially. That'll be nothing.
He couldn't have gone into yellow because he doesn't meet the requirements. He's not in the arc. He would have,
right. But he could go into orange.
That was into orange and whiffed.
Yeah. Actually confused because there's an orange marker on the blue guy and nothing on the red guy. I think we lost some markers.
All right. This is...
I think that's
Cartel
orange
Spacer.
SF into orange based Seek. Oh, it just gets it.
There we go. There we go.
All right, so Akhter gets a counter punch here. Let's not forget, like, a bunch of these are hurting, and he has really good potential with orange, that orange Seek to Ion red again.
Shouldn't that have only been 4 dice? Did he roll 5? No, he only rolled 4 dice. He was 4.
No, I think he's good.
He's 4. It's in the log right there. Player red, 4 dice. We good. All right, Cartel Spacer. Getting some pew-pews on. Where you gonna go? Got a whole Congo line of SFs as options.
Well, I think you look at which one of these that you could Ion again and prevent them from maybe turning their arc around.
3 hits. Coming in from that
good, huh?
Ion cannon. Oh, wrong dice. There we go. So that means we're at least going to get a damage. Are we going to get ions? And yes.
Who was that on?
That's onto red. It was range 1.
Yeah. So Ioned again.
Just continuing the conga line.
Now, red could probably just self-bump next turn and still not move, but his arc's behind him. Like, he's not a lot he can do here. Was that shot obstructed, Dion? Should there have been another die roll there for red or no?
Into red?
Yeah, from orange into red for the Ion. Was that an obstructed shot?
Checking right now. Oops. It's time in the round. The arc check said no.
That's interesting. Must have been the way the arc was from closest point to closest point.
Oh, the attack before, you guys are confused. These are not TIE fighters, these are SFs. They have 2 base agility. 2 base agility plus range plus obstruction equals 4, not 5. Not FOs, SFs.
Think of the Fang. What do you think this guy does here? Do you fire this range 2 shot at red, or do you?
Yeah, you got points right there. You just need 1 damage for points.
Yeah. spend that focus for 2, right? Unless you already spent it. Yep. So that's half on red.
Yep, that puts him up 100 to 36. Sorry, 100 to 96.
Oof, close match. My goodness.
This is the next round will be the game. Like I said, I thought there was only going to be 2 rounds, and we just got one more. You're talking about the orange SF into the orange M3A.
It didn't end up mattering because he rolled enough evades.
Oh,
so
then why does it matter? What?
Because they want you to admit that you were wrong.
No, let's move on.
Not a big deal.
All right, 8-Bit DD says, I'm sweating. I got 10k GSP points on Akhter right now. It is a close game right now. And that is the max that you can bet.
When did we lose another shield on purple SF? When did I miss that? Did yellow shoot into purple? I'm just looking at the board state.
Yeah,
here.
the board state says.
Yeah, I think yellow fang shot purple or pink, whatever.
Yeah,
the purple / pink.
Plinker. Yeah, so actually, yeah, Johnny, we missed that. So the points are actually more sided there. Akhter has 120 to 96.
Yeah, but still close. That red being ionized is really big here.
This will be the last round for sure. Just double checking the health here. So on both sides, looking at the points, 24. Gabo is 24 points behind, which means that he would either have to do 2 half points to any of the ships out there. I think would get you 24. Would get you enough, right? Yeah. Or kill the Fool Zealot or kill the blue M3A. I don't know if either of those are going to happen.
Well, I think the blue M3A just gets out of town. You just fly. Like, I mean, you could chase, but
you could also take out the half of the teal Zealot and half of the orange M3A. It's the other option.
Yeah.
I mean, just half and half. You need 2 halves. Two halves
you need
or
2 halves, no matter how you shake it, and you can't lose anything. But Akhter's going to be aggressive here because Akhter could say, you know what? Yeah, I'll lose or take half on something, but I'm going to take something away too. MOV doesn't matter.
That's right. We're just going for the dubs.
I think he's in perfect. I think he's just going to nuke red off the table just to ensure his victory. And then I will, make my gold, my 100 and what I would have put. If I had 10,000, I would have bet 10,000. Might get a barrel roll rotate from orange here. Feels bad, but you have to take the risk to get the shots to win.
Yeah. Yep, you need shots.
Yeah, you need them. You need the shots. You got to barrel roll rotate. Unless you just don't want to take any shots to stay alive, not risk getting halved. And maybe you have like a 1 bank with purple happening and you cluster with purple out the back and win the game by, oh, there it is.
There's the roll, yeah. Yep.
Now, don't forget, the rotate isn't absolutely necessary there because they still have their front arc regardless, but he did it anyway.
And there is the target lock. See, I think, again, this is the passive sensors would have...
No, I agree with this. I agree because, like, you're going to cluster no matter what into teal.
You think so? I mean, I guess you're right because it's range 2.
You cluster into teal, and then you do another 3 die after that into yellow, and you hope to get half on yellow and kill teal here.
Oh, that's if yellow's in range.
Yeah, I think he is, though.
All right, so this is range 1 out the back. No Concordia on this one. Hit crit.
Yep.
Going into teal.
That no Concordia is a real bummer.
Got it.
Safe. Safe.
No problem. We good. We good. How are you?
No problem.
Orange. Range 1. Oh, only 1.
Yeah, no problem. Easily evaded by these guys.
Safe.
Yep.
3 evades technically.
And this is the big one here. Because you got to kill teal with this cluster if you want to have any hope.
I mean, the problem is you're going to end up a few points short because you need 24 points to tie.
Oh, you're right. The cluster he's not going to be able to cluster back into yellow. It's out of range.
Yep.
Right?